There are people who work themselves to the bone, and we never stop to wonder why. We see the exhausted waitress, the tired janitor, and we make assumptions. But what if behind that exhausted face is a story so beautiful it would break your heart? This is about a woman who worked 3 jobs and carried a secret that left an entire town speechless. Her name was Maria Santos, and if you lived in Riverside, Pennsylvania, you'd seen her everywhere, but notice her nowhere. 5 a.m., she cleaned the elementary school. Noon, she served lunch at the community center. Midnight, she stocked shelves at the 24-hour grocery store. 4 hours of sleep. 3 worn-out outfits. Shoes with holes patched by duct tape. People had opinions about Maria. The customers complained she moved too slowly. Teachers whispered she looked unkempt, probably lacked ambition. The seniors she served sometimes treated her like she was invisible. Just another poor woman making bad choices, they thought. But Elizabeth Chun, a social worker who ate at the community center, noticed something strange. Maria never ate the food she served, not once in 3 months. When offered leftover meals to take home, she always declined, saying she had plenty. But her clothes hung looser every week, her hands trembled. Her body was running on empty. One day, Elizabeth followed Maria after her shift. No car, no bus. Maria walked 6 blocks to the elementary school and went straight to her next job. No break, no food. Elizabeth's heart sank. What was driving this woman to literally work herself to death? That night, Elizabeth waited at the grocery store until Maria's midnight shift began. Maria could barely stand, stumbling as she clocked in. Elizabeth couldn't stay silent anymore. "Maria, I'm worried about you. When do you eat? When do you sleep? Why are you doing this to yourself?" Maria's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. That's when she said something Elizabeth would never forget. "I'm feeding 23 children." Elizabeth stared at her, confused. "You have 23 kids?" "No," Maria said softly, "but they're mine anyway." The truth came out slowly, in whispers between stocking shelves. Maria had been a teacher in Venezuela before the crisis forced her family to flee. When they arrived in America 5 years ago, her teaching credentials weren't recognized. Her husband had died from an illness they couldn't afford to treat. She'd been left alone, desperate for work, taking whatever job she could find. But that wasn't the remarkable part. 2 years ago, Maria discovered something that changed everything. Every night when she cleaned the elementary school, she found the same thing in the trash cans: full lunches, unopened sandwiches, untouched fruit, thrown away by kids whose parents packed them meals they didn't want. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria trash, she found something else: free lunch trays, scraped completely clean, every crumb eaten. These were the poor kids, the ones on meal assistance, the ones who ate everything because they didn't know when the next meal would come. Maria started asking the lunch staff questions. Which kids always seemed hungry? Which ones asked for extra portions? Which ones pocketed snacks for later? The staff knew. They always know. 23 children across different grades, all from families struggling to keep food on the table. So Maria made a decision. Every penny from her 3 jobs, after paying her tiny studio apartment rent and utilities, went to feeding these children. She contacted each family privately, never saying who she was, just that a community program wanted to help. She bought groceries and left them on doorsteps at night. She paid off school lunch debts anonymously. She slipped $20 bills in the backpacks with notes that said, "For food." From a friend. The families never knew who was helping them. The children never knew someone was going hungry so they wouldn't have to. For 2 years, Maria worked 3 jobs, slept 4 hours, ate 1 small meal a day, and gave everything else away. Why? Elizabeth asked, tears streaming down her face. "Why don't you tell anyone? Why don't you ask for help?" Maria's answer was simple. "Because if I ask for help, people will want to know why I need it. Then they'll find out about the children. Then they might stop me, say it's not appropriate, that there are proper channels, rules, systems. But systems are slow, and children are hungry now. I was a teacher. I couldn't save my husband, but I can save them. That's enough. Elizabeth did something Maria never expected. She told the story, not to authorities or officials, but to the local newspaper. Within 24 hours, the story went viral. Not just in Riverside, but across the country. The woman who worked 3 jobs to feed children who weren't hers. The teacher who lost everything but refused to stop teaching the most important lesson, that love is action. The response was overwhelming. A GoFundMe raised $300,000 in 1 week. The school district immediately hired Maria as a teaching assistant and began the process of recognizing her credentials. A local dentist fixed her teeth for free. The grocery store owner, embarrassed by how customers had treated her, gave her a year of free groceries. Families across town started contributing to a fund that would continue Maria's mission, feeding not just 23 children, but every child in need. But the most beautiful moment came 2 weeks later at a special assembly at the elementary school. 23 children, who'd been told only that someone special wanted to meet them, stood on stage. Maria was brought out, and the principal explained what she'd been doing for 2 years. The children's faces, when they realized this tired, invisible woman had been their secret guardian, broke every heart in that auditorium. They ran to her, all 23 of them crying, hugging her, thanking her. One little girl, maybe 8 years old, looked up at Maria and said, "You're the reason my baby brother had milk. Thank you for saving us." Maria, who'd been so strong for so long, finally let herself break down. She held these children, her children, the ones she'd sacrificed everything for, and she said, "You are worth it. Every single one of you is worth it." Today, Maria is a full-time teacher again. The Maria Santos Fund feeds over 200 children in Riverside and is expanding to neighboring towns. But more importantly, Maria changed how an entire community sees the invisible people around them. The cashiers, the janitors, the people working multiple jobs just to survive. Now Riverside asks. They notice. They help. Because Maria taught them that the person you ignore, the person you judge, the person you assume is lazy or uneducated or making poor choices, might actually be a hero carrying a burden you can't see. She taught them that sacrifice doesn't always look noble. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like failure. Sometimes it looks like 3 jobs and holes in your shoes. And she taught those 23 children, who are now teenagers and will never forget her, the most important lesson of all. That one person, with nothing but love and determination, can change the world. Not the whole world, maybe, but someone's whole world. And isn't that what matters? So the next time you see someone working themselves to exhaustion, someone struggling, someone who looks like they've given up, remember Maria. Ask yourself, what story am I not seeing? What burden are they carrying? What secret act of love are they performing that no one knows about? Because the truth is, there are Marias everywhere, heroes in plain sight, people sacrificing in silence, and they're not asking for recognition. They're not asking for praise. They're just asking that we see them, really see them, and maybe, just maybe, help carry the weight. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to remember that kindness still exists in this world, that sacrifice still matters, that one person can make a difference, and most importantly, that the invisible people around you are often the most extraordinary people you'll ever meet. You just have to be willing to see them.